Breaking news back here in the United States. This involving Theranos. Of course, that was the blood testing company founded by Elizabeth Holmes, who was already convicted of defrauding investors. We're now learning that the former president of that company, Sunny Balwani, has also been found guilty of fraud. This just crossing the wire right now. Not clear on exactly which counts, but again, Elizabeth Holmes, who was awaiting sentencing on her conviction for defrauding investors, and now Ramesh Sunny Balwani, who was the president of Theranos at one point, as well as the romantic partner of Elizabeth Holmes at one point, has now also been found guilty of fraud by a jury out there in California. Let's go out to Steve Stroth right now, who has a little bit more information on what's going on. Steve, let's talk a little bit about the charges that Sunny Balwani was facing. I assume they were the exact same charges that Elizabeth Holmes faced as well.
That's right, Romaine. He was found guilty of fraud, specifically for lying to investors and patients about the accuracy and the capability of Theranos' blood testing machines.
Overall, we know that, therefore, Elizabeth Holmes and Sunny Balwani found guilty. We understand that top executives at the blood testing startup face the same charges. How much broader could this go, Steve?
Broader in what context? I mean,
any other executives, or are these the two key names?
As far as we know, it's just these two executives, the founder and the president of the company.
How do you think about sort of and I want to be careful with the word precedent, but the successful sort of conviction and trial of these, what this means for prosecutors who had really gone after this as a way to sort of identify those who, are defrauding investors?
Well, as you may recall, Theranos was a fairly substantial and successful company, or appeared to be a successful company. It was valued as much as $9 billion at one point, and then collapsed. And investors were told certain things by Holmes and by Balwani about the capability of these machines, and it turned out that the capability of those machines was inflated, or in some cases was misrepresented.
Steve, I'm sorry. Steve, I just want to jump in here because I'm curious. We talk a lot about defrauding investors, and we know those are the charges that Elizabeth Holmes was actually convicted of. What about defrauding the patients? Was Sunny Balwani actually held responsible for that?
Yes, he was. In fact, there was some testimony at trial from patients, as there were in the Holmes case, where patients had actually had blood tests that were conducted by their machines that were false.